Peace and great day, kings and queens. It's another motivation, money making Monday. We taking it to a step extra from a post that we did a couple of weeks back where we was asking the politicians, the councilmen, mayor, the legislators, the assemblymen, all of the people that are public servants to explain to the people what they do, what they have done, the things that they look to do in the future, and really just have a candid conversation with those people that serve for the community and for the people of the city of Albany and the state as a whole. So we here today with Owusu Anane.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everything that you do for the city and the greater capital region as a whole.
First, what's the definition of your name?
Owusu means determined, and Anane, I believe, is the third son or something like that. Well, I'm currently a city council member. Council member is a legislative body for the city of Albany. We essentially are the lawmakers. We also look over, make sure that snow is being removed in a timely manner, trash is being moved in a timely manner. We deal with assessments. The last line of defense, particularly with the district that we represent and City Hall. So our job is to listen to their hopes and aspirations and execute like a public advocate in the district that you represent. I represent the Pine Hills neighborhood. So I am the direct voice for the Pine Hills community in city government.
How long have you been in office?
I've been in office for, I'm serving on my second term. I've been in office about 6 years now.
Okay. How has things changed since you've been in office?
Well, I will tell you this, since one of the things that motivated me to want to run is that there are some people in our community that, wanted to go a different direction as relates to leadership, someone who doesn't mind ruffling some feathers if it means doing what is right. One of the things that really motivated me to want to get into politics is essentially 2008 when then Senator Barack Obama decided to run for president.
Yes.
He was cool, calm, and collective, and just that inspired me to want to get involved. Went to the University of Albany, I majored in history, took an internship at the state capitol, was part of the College Democrats, and I think that my time as an intern at the state capitol really inspired me to see how government can help everyday people to make people's lives better.
Yes.
I learned a lot in the classroom, but when you're actually hands-on at the state capitol, helping making decisions for others, it's just so surreal.
Yes.
I remember the assemblyman I was working for one time got a call that's from a constituent having issues with Department of Social Service. And the assemblyman gave me that task to really help the lady out, and it was, made a phone call to Department of Social Service, and it was just a clerical error with her documents, and ultimately she was able to get the service that she needs. And I was like, wow, as an intern, these people,
Right.
you got people in power that are listening to an intern. Can you imagine being an elected official? And so I took it from there and just started becoming a little bit more involved in the community that I wanted to represent, going to council meetings, school board meetings, going to involved in the neighborhood association. So ultimately I decided to run for the city council position.
Nah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, a fellow Albany alum as well.
Well, 100%.
So that's awesome. Yeah, man, I graduated in 05. So
sweet.
yes, absolutely. So it's good to know that you went there as well. But yeah, that's the whole process. It happened sort of organically for you then, for you to get into office and just see the different areas in which you can make improvements within the community that you wanted to serve. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're going to do moving forward in your career?
Well, some of the things that I've already done, particularly as a council member, is people having access to the internet, broadband. 1/3 of residents in the city don't have access to the internet. So when I got elected, I wanted to put a commission together to do feasibility and logistics and finance study. How can we make sure that everyone, no matter where you live, have access to the internet? Having access to the internet is no longer a luxury, right? Like everyone needs access to the internet.
Right.
Everyone,
Absolutely.
1/3 of our residents don't have it. It's really concerning. So I passed a law for the mayor and city officials to do a study to figure out how we can provide access to the internet to everyone, no matter where you live. If you want to start a business, you need access to the internet. If you doing homework projects for students, you need access to the internet. Even during COVID, when you were applying for vaccinations, you need access to the internet. So we realized how important it is having access to the internet. And when the commission, I put the report out, and now I'm working with the mayor to make sure that no matter where you live, you have access to the internet. I've also, one of the things I worked with my colleagues is barrier to some of the civil service job opportunities in City Hall. Very too often, individuals, especially young people, they don't want to make that investment in, paying a fee to take a civil service exam.
Right.
And some of those civil service jobs are good paying jobs. When you look at police, fire, you look at City of Albany jobs, union jobs. So one of the things I did was I worked with the Municipal Service Commission to get rid of the fee. To take that exam, you have to pay roughly $40. And I think that young people don't understand the investment. So it became a barrier. So I wanted to get rid of that barrier to give people, particularly high school students, or anyone that graduated from high school in the City of Albany, could go and take a civil service exam free of charge. That's something I worked on. I also worked on making sure that residents have chickens in their backyard. There are some communities in the city that there's a food desert, right? Everyone have to get in a car to go to Walmart or Walmart, Crossgates Mall, and even Glenmont, right? So we want to make sure that people can have their own urban farming within their own city. So pass that legislation to allow residents to have it. That's not a legislation that was not something that was allowed in the City of Albany. And we see, egg crate is going up now. It's like crate of eggs is now $12. Everything is going up. So I wanted to make sure that residents in the city have access to create their own farming. Another thing that I've been really proud of the past couple of years, we've seen a housing crisis. And when we received the federal dollars from the Biden administration, I wanted to make sure that we set aside money for housing, particularly home ownership. That's something that I've been preaching to the administration and my colleagues. So we set $2.8 million aside to individuals that are interested in purchasing a house, to have some type of down payment. So that's some things that I've been working on, and I'm gonna continue to champion those things: economic opportunity and educational opportunity.
Nah, that's awesome. That's awesome. People don't understand how much the small things add up to the bigger things that matter to people on a daily basis, on an everyday life basis. And the major thing that I see, like a lot of the people, they focus on major elections and things like that, but don't really understand how it's the city councilmen and the city officials that actually impact their day-to-day life. So the internet, something as simple as, it's simple to most because it's just so accessible, but it's so many people that goes without it, that without it, they don't even have access to the normal things that we take for granted. So, that's a major component. All of those different things that a person on the everyday level don't consider, those small things being in place is key to the day-to-day life for people around the city. So I applaud that. What's the next steps for you in your political career?
Well, I would say with my background in education, I'm a special education teacher. I'm also a small business owner with a Partridge Pub. And I'm also a city council member. And I think that with my background, makes me uniquely qualified to run for the state assembly seat, which I'm currently running for right now. There are decisions that are being made in our city every single day, and unfortunately, we don't have people that look like you and I at the table. And I feel like it's more prevalent, particularly at the state level. We're in the middle of a housing crisis, and I believe that we need someone who has lived experience, someone who has been evicted before, someone who has been in understand what it's like not to have a place to stay. So I believe that with my experience owning a small business, being in the classroom, makes me uniquely qualified to run for the assembly seat. When elected in assembly, some of the things I want to fight for is housing. I want to make sure that housing is more affordable for working families in the district. Also want to make sure that businesses, we're helping small businesses in the capital region, making sure that they flourish. When government and the private sector work together, the community wins. And that's something that we have to make sure that we're working towards. So I'm running for the state assembly, and with the support of many people in this district, I think we're gonna win. We're gonna win this election, and we're gonna make some change. Albany is a small city, but it's mighty, and in many ways. And I think that with the city becoming more diverse, more younger people moving into this city, if we could just all work together, we could definitely have a seat at the table to make sure that those, that mom who is struggling with child care, we could support her. That individual that want to have a path to the American dream, whether it's home ownership, right? Helping them. That supporting our school district, particularly Albany High, where Black and brown kids are struggling. And when you look at the people at the table, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the community that they represent. So we need to make sure that we have someone who has a voice and who have lived experience to move our city and our district forward in the right direction.
Absolutely. I have a question. What's the difference in position and duties and responsibilities from assembly person versus council person?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So as a council member, I am the last line of defense when it comes to the local representation, local level representation. So currently, as a city council member, I represent 7,500 people, which is just the Pine Hills neighborhood. And as an assembly member, it's going to be representing over 100,000 people. So all of the residents in Albany, all of the residents of Guilderland, all the residents of the town of New Scotland. So geographically, I'll be representing more people, but also I'll be working with the governor. So at the local level, at the council member, when you look at forms of government, right, you have the legislative branch, you have the judicial branch, and then you have the executive branch. And as a council member, the executive branch is the mayor of the city. At the state level, the executive branch is the governor. So we will be the lawmakers at the state level, passing laws for the state that govern the state. So I will be the voice for the 109th Assembly District. And some of the things that I want to work on is education, make sure we're fully funding our school districts. But we also, some things I want to push is universal after school program. I think our kids are always learning, and who they learning from when they get out of class is so important. So we want to make sure that we have universal after school program, because when you go to other institutions, private schools where I've taught, once a kid leaves school, they have piano lessons, they have entrepreneur lessons. There's so many things that kids are learning, different resources, and we need to make it statewide and make sure that it helps everyone, particularly Black and brown communities that have been neglected. You have moms who are working 3-4 jobs, dads who are doing the same. So there's not a lot of education going on after the 3 o'clock bell. So we want to make sure that everyone who wants access to after school program have access to it. So to your question, the state level is $221 billion that I will have a say on how that money is spent. At the local level, it's $178 million that I usually have a say in on it. So again, I think that at the state level, there's so much that we could do to help our communities. So I'm excited for it.
So your voice gets bigger, it's amplified when you change positions, and the amount of people that you can actually serve is greater in the assembly person's position.
Correct. I've been a champion and a fighter for the residents of Albany. And anyone that follow Albany politics know that I've been their champion. And I want to be a champion for Guilderland, the town of New Scotland, and the city of Albany. So I want to take my talents to the next level, to really focus on how we can get state dollars into our communities. It's so important when you look at the revenue, particularly that the state provide to the city, usually get anywhere from $15 to $17 million to the city of Albany. We could get more than that, and one of the reasons I say is that everyone property is being assessed now. People got their properties assessed. We need to assess state-owned buildings in the city of Albany, and the reason why people, would be like $178 million. Where are we going to get this money from? A few homeowners are paying for 100% of the services that the city of Albany provides. So again, I'm running to be a voice for the capital region on the state level to make sure that we're bringing resources into the capital region. Some of them had Fahey, who was in a position, now is running for the Senate seat. She has been a champion for the capital region, but I think that you need someone who has the passion, the energy to really bring resources into the 109th Assembly District. We've had New York City politicians, and I'm from Brooklyn, but they have really dominated the day. They get all the resources, so we'll look forward to working with my colleagues to really make sure that dollars are coming into the capital region.
Right. So we get our fair share of
Correct.
what we need so that we can operate at an optimum level. Yeah, no, that's very important. That's very important. So with that being said, man, I thank you for your time.
Yeah.
One other question before we leave is, how does the people get involved with the whole process of utilizing the people's power to make sure that their voices are getting heard by the people that they put in place to serve the communities?
Well, I'll tell you this. Don't underestimate the power of your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't underestimate what a small group of people can do.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I always tell marginalized communities that we have to organize.
Mm-hmm.
We have to organize. One person writing a letter to the mayor or the council member, it can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a group of 20 people saying, this is what we want to see in our community, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. So one of the things that if you are concerned about some of the things that you're seeing in your neighborhood and you want to see some changes, reach out to your elected officials. We work for you. We work for you. So again, reach out to your council member, reach out to the mayor's office, but also organize within your community. Whether it's a neighborhood association, go to the meetings and tell them what you would like to see, and then build off of that. So for example, I'll give you an example. When I first got elected, the Albany Soccer Club, they were advocating for a new field. And they came to during budget season, they came every single day. And when the budget was over, we found a location that we're working with them to get them a soccer field. So we need to have that same tenacity, that same energy, that same passion. Write letters to your elected officials. Stop in their office and tell them what you would like to see. So those are some of the things that I think is so important to really make some change. You know, the politics not a spectator sport. You have to participate.
You have to get involved.
And you have to get involved because decisions are being made for you whether you like it or not. And that's something that I think we really need to understand, particularly in this city. There have been some people who are part of the establishment who have, taken up a lot of the space as it relates to helping people that are well connected already, that are already doing well. And I think that we need representation, we need different voices, particularly young people of color, young men of color at the table, to usher in a new path and a new vision. I saw a post regarding the comment that was said that, Rebecca comments as it relates to there's nothing to do in Albany. Personally, I felt like that's not her place to say it, but there are a level of truth to it, and I think that, I saw a post that somebody said, well, you can't blame the mayor because she doesn't know what she don't know. And I think that as a community, we have to voice what we would like to see.
Absolutely.
We really have to be intentional. We can't use this Rebecca moment and just go away. And that's why I appreciate a young man by the name of Swain. He has taken that comment and now is putting a forum together at 5 o'clock today to talk about what we would like to see. But it goes back to making sure that we have representation at the table. Because if you have somebody that look like myself and you at the table, we know what our community want. But unfortunately, people that are making decisions for us are not really, they're not in tune about the priorities that we care about. So.
Yeah, our cares and concern within the community. And one of the main takeaways that I get from everything that you said is that we have to organize, we have to make sure that we have voices at the table, and not just have those voices, but be the body behind those voices by showing up to the meetings and making sure that we present to make sure that our concerns, our needs, and our wants are being pushed forward by the people that we put in place to serve our community. So that's a key factor. So I thank you. Yeah,
that is it. And I tell you, one of the things is that when I get elected, I'm bringing everybody with me, and we have to stick together. We have to work together because what's happening in this city, we have the capital of New York. We could do so much better than what we're seeing. There are 5 homicides in the city. Unemployment rate in certain communities as high as 22%. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And I think that it's time for the next generation of leaders to step up and really hold elected officials' feet to the fire, but also organize and try to move our community forward.
Right. Because not just the elected officials, but also the people that need to put in the work as well. Because I think it goes hand in hand, you know. And when it does go hand in hand, then we have great outcomes. Yeah. So I thank you for your time. Thank you for answering those questions for me, man. Appreciate you.